like to invite to the stage is Launchpad. Welcome, Launchpad.
Okay. One person can make a difference, and everyone should try. Addressing the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela starts by identifying the needs of those affected. Here at Launchpad, we use a human-centered business approach to help established companies like MaxiaNet make an impact in their communities and beyond. So who are we? The team at Launchpad, consisting of myself, Daniel,
Elena,
Isaac,
and Katrina.
So here at Launchpad, we create opportunities in developing countries utilizing social ventures. And we've had some big clients in the past, such as Tom's Shoes, who pioneered the buy one, give one model. So if you buy a pair of shoes, you give one to somebody in need. And the Grameen Bank, which is a microfinance institution that gives zero-fee loans to small farmers and business owners in Bangladesh. So we have established and helped them create social ventures in their own businesses.
So what are we going to go through today? Today, we're going to present on the background of Venezuela, what is going on within this country, and how can we enter this market effectively. So we'll put through our recommendation, which includes utilizing a social venture model. From there, we'll also dictate why not only using Venezuela as a point of entry, but also Colombia is beneficial. We'll also go through our distribution methods, and finally tie in why all this matters. So, throughout our research, we identified a key problem. So, despite Venezuela's economic and political difficulties, what sustainable strategies can your company use in order to not only create value, but also present itself to solve the current humanitarian crisis? And of course, we want to tie this into MaxiaNet's key values. I'll start by going through some of the background on Venezuela. So with regards to the legal environment, there have been several sanctions placed on this country. And so there's a current embargo going on, meaning that it's very difficult for a US company to do business within Venezuela itself. With regards to the environment, we specifically identified that sanitary issues were the key problem at play. And so with regards to sanitation, it's hard to access clean water, get food, and medicine, all of which is needed for citizens. With regards to the political and economic environment, I used a one-shot simultaneous game from game theory economics to analyze who the players are, what their decisions are, and how it affects the situation overall. So player one, the Venezuelan government has two options to either accept foreign aid or deny foreign aid. And the second player, your company MaxiaNet, has two decisions, whether to enter the Venezuelan market or not to enter the Venezuelan market. And so these decisions, represented by the payoff values given here, given equilibrium status, do nothing in Venezuela, and also don't accept foreign aid. However, this doesn't make any sense because it puts in place a critical issue for citizens who, even though they're not involved in the decision-making process, are influenced by it overall. And so we want to incentivize you as one of the strategic players, MaxiaNet, to go enter the Venezuelan market in order to benefit the citizens overall. Therefore, our recommendation is to create a social venture model to not only create value, but also provide affordable diapers throughout Venezuela.
Sweet. So implementing our strategy, we want to start off with using this social venture model to build sustainable cash flow with our business. Next, we're going to be creating a subsidized product to create affordable diapers for those in need. And lastly, we'll be looking at our distribution to create a wide impact in Venezuela. So our social venture model, the definition of a social venture is prioritizing social good while also including business success. And this is better categorized as people and profit. So while we take profit, we're able to create a greater impact to those affected in need and making sure we're still considering a humanitarian aspect to our business. So some advantages of using a social venture include revenue generating. So because people see value in our product, they're willing to purchase it, which helps generate revenue for our business. Next is scalability. So we're able to reinvest our profits back into the business to increase our reach and impact. So we can scale up our inventory to provide more diapers to Venezuela, or we can look through and find new distribution channels to reach more people. And lastly, we'll be looking at sustainability. So by creating our own revenue, we're reducing our reliance on outside funding, which is really important in a country like Venezuela that doesn't accept a lot of foreign aid. And in the startup space and nonprofits, the good that you can do is entirely reliant on the money you raise, so it's proportional to your impact. So we want to make sure that we can provide our own impact by raising our own money, so we're not that reliant on accepting funding and constantly fundraising, we can focus on growing our business and reaching the most people. So once we enter the Venezuelan market, why would people want to accept our diapers? First is awareness. So in Latin American countries, one of the big things they talked about for switching diaper brands was word of mouth from family and friends. Next is our affordability. So we're going to be using a subsidized product model, using customers in more affluent markets and taking profits from that to help subsidize our product in Venezuela. Next, our advantage is that we're doing small unit purchases. So people in third world countries and in poverty don't have a consistent income stream for them to continuously purchase big items. So they've started kind of purchasing items every day. So we want to include a small unit item so that it opens it up so that more people can purchase our diapers. And last is access. So we want to use health institutions and current NGOs in Venezuela to help distribute our product. So with NGOs, the case talked a lot about this UN response plan for Venezuela, and there's over 60 NGOs currently in the country, and we want to make sure that we're connecting with these support networks that are already established. And a lot of these NGOs have established trust within their local communities that we can use. And lastly, we're helping benefit NGOs as well by providing a hygiene product that reaches more people in need. Next, we'll talk about our sustainable product.
Our next strategy is to subsidize the Venezuela product to make it more affordable and accessible for our customers. So we're going to start off with partnering with Winnie and creating a special 5-count pack of the Winnie Ultra Trim Gold diapers. Currently, size medium is the most common in the Venezuela market, and it neglects a lot of customers. So we believe MaxiNet has a great opportunity to reach a larger market and better cater to their customers' needs. So we recommend a size small, medium, and large, with a total cost of 5,562 bolivars. In the Colombia market, we're going to keep the product essentially the same, the 50-count Ultra Trim Gold diapers with sizes from extra small to extra large. And the total cost per pack is going to be 45,990 Colombian pesos. So looking at the profit margin, we're recommending a 20% retail price premium, leading to a 20% profit margin. For Venezuela, this profit is really important because we're entering a risky market and we want MaxiNet to have returns quicker. For Colombia, increased profit margin means that more profit is enabled to subsidize the product in Venezuela. So the overall profit for the Venezuela pack is going to be 1,112 bolivars, and in Colombia it will be 9,198 Colombian pesos.
All right, so what this slide is showing is the estimated cost of shipping all the diapers needed for every kid in Venezuela at different usage rates. So the case outlines that currently, as recent as 2017, kids are using about 126 diapers a year, which is super low. So we use that as our base, which is represented at the top. And in other Latin American countries, kids are using at most around 556 a year, which is also outlined in the case. So what we did was we multiplied those numbers by the amount of kids in Venezuela, which is around 2.3 million, and we were able to come up with the amount of diapers that are going to be used per year. And so the shipping costs come into effect with estimates from a company called Mundial International. I'm going to be talking about them a little later as to why we chose them, but pretty much how their shipping logistics work is that they use a 40-foot high cube container, and that's going to fit on average about 250,000 diapers in those containers. And so what we did was we took the amount of diapers needed per year, divided that by how many can fit in each container, and found out the number of shipments per year, multiplied that by how much each shipment costs, which is also estimated by Mundial International, to get how much the shipping cost per year is going to be at different usage rates.
So the number one reason why Latin American consumers switch diaper products is because of promotion. So we want to create a Colombia Cares promotion, which is essentially a way for Colombian customers to offer their love and support to their neighboring countries. With this promotion, we want to enable everyone to understand the dire humanitarian need that is in Venezuela and allow the Colombian customers to act on this by purchasing these branded diaper packs. So we want to push 30% of the profit from the Colombia Cares promotion into subsidizing the cost of the Venezuelan packs. So in Colombia, Winnie is the #1 diaper brand, and it is a very hot-selling product, so we anticipate a lot of profit, which is why we're able to have an estimated discount of 40% per diaper pack, making the diaper packs a lot more affordable for the daily user and allow for more frequent purchases.
Awesome. So in Exhibit 9, it talks about how 2 of the main factors why Latin American consumers switch diaper brands is because of promotion and feedback from family and friends. And we plan on utilizing those 2 strategies to the fullest extent and really tie together that connection between these neighboring countries. There's actually been an influx of about 600,000 migrants moving from Venezuela to Colombia, and according to the Ease of Doing Business Index, it's ranked number 65, which is another reason why we chose going to Colombia directly. So next I'm going to be talking about the distribution model. We have a 4-step distribution model, and it's really going to help reach more customers through these strategic channels. First of them is going to be partnering with the #1 diaper brand in all of Colombia, Winnie. The reason why we chose Winnie is because they have a proven track record, they have quality products, and they're actually already a licensed manufacturer. So we felt like going to them would be the best bet right off the bat. Second is using MaxiNet's already proven supply chain model and really hounding on the logistics of that so that we can move the amount of diapers needed from Colombia to Venezuela. How we're going to move those diapers is by using Mundial International, which is how we got the cost estimates for the shipping. Reason why we chose them is because they already have packaging facilities in Colombia. They have a network of those all around Latin America, and so we felt like that'd be the best bet to hone in on that first. And lastly, it's going to be the wholesale and retail distribution. So in Colombia, the diapers are already selling in supermarkets, so we're not going to change that. They're selling really well. Where we're going to change things is going to be in Venezuela. So we plan on selling all the diapers in hospitals. Reason being for hospitals, we have a number of different reasons. One of the reasons being is that Winnie actually already has a program where they partner with over 100 different hospitals in Colombia. So we were thinking of using that and replicating that in Venezuela, but also too with hospitals, we want to make sure that we have it more market-oriented. So the case talks a lot about how there's a lot of black market activity running rampant in Venezuela. Going in to the hospitals is able to lessen that effect, really controlling who gets the diapers, people who actually need them, mothers and children, and really lessening the effect of people using the black market. Next is the humanitarian aid. So obviously these people need these diapers to survive. And so a lot of people are just hoarding them, selling them at super high prices, people can't afford them. And so with that too, we want to bring awareness. And when they're in the hospitals, we want to have some kind of educational aspect to it on how to remain sanitary, how to add some kind of educational aspect to teaching them how to clean and wash these diapers and dispose of them properly.
So above is an implementation timeline. So you want to start off with MaxiNet creating their social venture and establishing great relationships with Winnie and Mundial. Next, we're going to launch the Colombia Cares promotion and distribute these products in supermarkets, as mentioned previously. After about a year of profit, we want to use that to subsidize the cost for Venezuela markets and distribute these in hospitals. After a few years, we hope to expand to supermarkets so that this product is even more accessible for customers. We are anticipating from product launch 7 years till full distribution and an estimated 13 years for full sales potential. So speaking back onto the 20% profit margin, this will help with short-term profit, but in the long term, there's currently no primary market shareholder, and this poses a great long-term investment for MaxiNet and Winnie.
Today, we've covered the following topics as to why Venezuela is a good market for MaxiNet to enter, and how you can be successful not only within one market, but two by introducing the Colombian aspect. Thank you so much, and you can make a difference within this humanitarian effort. We look forward to any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go to the judges for 8 minutes of Q&A and feedback.
Thank you. Who is the manufacturer of Winnie? Is it a Fortune 500 company, or is it Winnie itself as the manufacturer?
So Winnie is actually the #1 company distributing diapers in Colombia.
Okay. And that diaper is biodegradable also, or is it?
No, they're not.
Okay. As far as the distribution strategy initially, you said you're going to focus on the hospitals. And so was that, those gross margin numbers of 20% is based on the 5 count at 900 boulevards to the hospital for initially?
Yes, so that is going to be our plan for the hospital distribution. I got that 20% number by looking at an article from Procter & Gamble about how they were able to enter a market, kind of a risky one, with their Pampers diapers, and it said 20%.
And then ongoing, when you add the supermarket distribution strategy, would that be at the same gross margin target, 20%?
Yes, that's going to be our target.
And then what about the commerce relationships between Colombia and Venezuela? Are they existing as far as free trade agreements, or is commonly practice for commerce between the two countries?
To be honest, I'm not sure. That's a good question that we would want to look into after.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Going back to the 5 count package, would you be introducing that as well in the supermarket strategy?
Yeah, so the 5 count package is really just for the initial Venezuelan market because their income isn't stable. So we find that a lot of developing countries, such as India, have moved towards this single-use product where they can purchase it every day. And it's really, in Latin American culture, they're constantly going to the store every day to pick up groceries and pick up items. So by having a small unit count, at least in Venezuela, we're introducing a lot more people who can purchase our product because they don't have such a big chunk to purchase at one time. But in Colombia, which is a little more stable in terms of income, we're gonna keep a more traditional, like 30 to 40 diapers per package. So we've kind of only limited just for Venezuela.
So for Venezuela and the 5 count package, have you taken in consideration the fact that there are very long lines to get into the store and to get to product?
Yeah, so we definitely looked at that. So that's why we initially chose the hospitals, because they mentioned in the case that you needed proof of birth certificate, which was creating a really long line at those supermarkets. So hopefully by partnering with hospitals, that information's on file. So it kind of speeds up that process. And then by distributing through the NGOs, we're kind of removing that market aspect too. So we're trying to find new ways so people don't have to wait in those long lines that they traditionally are accustomed to.
So what would you say is Maxionet's single biggest challenge in entering the Venezuelan market?
With regards to the single biggest challenge, I believe it's just connecting with the not only distribution networks but also the culture. So if you can get people to habitually buy the Winnie diapers, as we mentioned, so this calculation above demonstrates how we got the 5-pack and why we want people to purchase twice a week. So if that can become more of the norm, getting to that point is what will be difficult.
Who owns the hospitals in Venezuela?
I do not have an answer for that, but that's something that we can definitely research further. One thing I do know is that Winnie has over 100 connections in Colombia with hospitals. So using that model and transferring that to Venezuela might be a little bit easier with those connections.
Who owns the hospitals in Colombia?
What was that?
Who owns the hospitals in Colombia?
Government?
So yeah, answering that question, the government owns the hospitals in Venezuela because it's socialized, but we were saying kind of utilizing those NGOs too to maybe create those distribution networks. So if case like the hospital falls through and the government isn't willing to work with us, we still have another channel to still distribute health and hygiene products. And so that's why we really wanted to use those local NGOs in case our hospital strategy didn't work out.
Why would Winnie want to use Maxionet when they can just sell directly into the country?
Due to Maxionet's prior experiences working in all different sectors around the world, so because of Maxionet's understanding of different markets, that's what can really help those distribution channels overall.
And to add on, there's currently no market shareholder for diapers in Venezuela, so this is a really big business opportunity for Winnie.
In your model, who is donating? Is it the consumer or is it a company?
The donations in regards to the Colombia Cares program or overall?
Colombia Cares.
So the Colombia Cares program is designed so that consumers in Colombia will pay the normal price. And so based off of the profits that we have there, we would take a certain amount to subsidize the cost within Venezuela. And so just using the basic subsidy model instead of a higher price, so essentially the Venezuelan consumer would be able to afford that within their own income so they could budget for it better.
Is the Colombia Cares, is that a Winnie led project or is that a larger NGO running that?
This would be a Winnie-led project. They currently do a couple of the projects with the prenatal care with the hospitals, so this would be just one of the many things that Winnie does with campaigns and promotions.
Do you think there's for the average Colombian consumer, do you think currently there's a affinity for Venezuelan consumers or more of a negative?
The reason that we chose Venezuela and to instigate this program is because there are currently 600,000 migrants from Venezuela to Colombia. And within Latin American culture, there's familial ties in the sense of trying to communicate back and forth between your family. And so if we can get consumers in Colombia who may originally be from Venezuela to purchase a product, using that word of mouth strategy so that way the product awareness spreads, then it could be a successful product.
What do you guys think having this sort of social impact and as a corporation having this be part of your mandate, what do you think that does to a company and its employees?
So when your company has that kind of social venture element, employees definitely feel more motivated to go to work, and they're willing to work harder knowing that their work is directly impacting those in need. And also, this kind of creates a really sustainable model for us, so it's really beneficial if we can still make profit to still give back to that community and really help MaxiNet be perceived as this great company that it is, because PR coming from social venture is really important as well. So there's a monetary aspect to it, but there's also a really big human aspect to it. There's a really big crisis right now, so if we can kind of provide this mission of people and profits together, we're impacting not only our company, but we're also impacting the lives of those around us.
Thank you.
Thank you, fantastic. I'm sorry, thank you, Launchpad.